The Pacific Northwest has two of the most important House races in the country. Oregonians are going to choose a new treasurer, secretary of state, and attorney general. There are 92 local measures to keep an eye on, and 5 statewide measures, including a tax on big businesses in Oregon that could mean you get a check. As election season ramps up, here's a look at the political landscape of Oregon and Southwest Washington. We've got some nationally important congressional races happening this year. Control of the House is going to come down to a few key elections, and 2 of them are in our backyard. Republicans think they have a chance in Oregon's 4th and 6th congressional districts, but all the juice is really on Oregon's 5th district. Joe Biden won the district in 2020, but the congressional seat is currently held by a Republican. And it's a rematch. Janelle Bynum beat Lori Chavez DeRemer twice in state legislative races. But now both candidates face an even bigger showdown, and the winner will land the seat in D.C. Up in Washington's 3rd district, we're going to see another big race. It's also a rematch between 2 very different candidates. Congresswoman Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez, who owns a mechanic business with her husband, and MAGA Republican Joe Kent, who's a former Army Ranger. Now let's talk ballot measures. Portland approved ranked choice voting in 2022, and now it's on the ballot statewide, and it would fundamentally change the way we vote in Oregon. And we're still dealing with the fallout from Secretary of State Shemia Fagan's 2023 resignation. One new measure would establish a commission that may well mean raises for all statewide elected officials and state lawmakers. And another would allow elected officials to be impeached for the first time in Oregon history. Measure 119 would make it easier for cannabis workers to unionize. This bill comes nearly a decade after the legalization of marijuana in Oregon. And there are also more than a dozen measures in 10 different counties that would prohibit or curtail the presence of psilocybin-rated businesses. You're probably thinking, wait, at the beginning of all this, didn't he say I might get a check? Yes. Measure 118 would give Oregonians more than $1,000 a year by taxing big businesses. This measure has major support from a guy who made his fortune in crypto. It's being opposed by big business and labor. Now let's look at the statewide races. Washingtonians are going to have a new governor for the first time since 2013. And Oregon Republicans think they have a good shot at the Oregon Attorney General's office for the first time in 12 years. Will Lathrop, the Republican, is challenging Dan Rayfield, who's the former Democratic House Speaker. Tobias Reed, former candidate for governor of Oregon and the current state treasurer, is likely to become Secretary of State. Also vying for the Secretary of State and Treasurer spots are 2 Republicans who are barred from re-election after racking up more than 10 absences during the 2023 walkouts. They're both heavy underdogs. And speaking of walkouts, in Central Oregon, Tim Knopp led the Republican walkout when he was Senate Minority Leader. Now that he's barred from re-election this year, the seat seems winnable for Democrats. And finally, Portland, Oregon's biggest city, has 4 new geographic districts and more than 100 candidates running for local office. 19 of those candidates are running for mayor. Ballots are also going to look a little different. 2024 is the first year Portlanders will use ranked choice voting to elect their local officials. That's the lay of the political land for 2024. But if you're looking for a deeper dive into some of the most important races and measures, check out the rest of OPB's 2024 election coverage at opb.org/election.